Mr. Ceyhun. His Excellency, Mr. Abdullah Musaibi, although it's our first session for the whole day, we are starting on the private sector forum, make them better integrate to the global economy, regional economy, or in generally national economy. From Turkey, system that involves also coming up with the very. Without further ado, since we have extremely. Thank you. All right. Excellent. I think short personal journey as well. Ulan, who is
to grow the policymakers, the SME agencies, the investment promotion agencies by on capex within the 3 to 5 years tenure, and also we do invest 3 to 5 years tenure, and also we do invest into the infrastructure project financing, which stretches well beyond 10 infrastructure project financing, which stretches well beyond 10, 15, and can be deployed for the benefit of the use of the funds, economy of the respective country. And I believe that some of our member countries, including Azerbaijan, are doing really incentives, and the regulatory, alhamdulillah, we have Azerbaijan are doing really incentives, and the regulatory, alhamdulillah, we have managed to sign some of the key financing SME support, which is already in place.
Toolbox financing mechanisms or structures are supporting SMEs in that. With you, because we have a live translation. I know that Mr. Ruhan, he understands English, but he will basically intervene in
financial sources. We have a plan of financing SMEs, and these conditions or factors is a resilience of the businesses on lending without any collateral as a condition to SMEs in the real terms. Then I would like also to bring some statistics on SMEs in Azerbaijan contractors or the raw material suppliers. And therefore, in order to provide for their financial stability, factoring or reverse factoring financial tools are widely used and should be widely used. In addition to that, the integration of SMEs into the e-trade platforms and in transforming to the B2B platforms, it may really be very supportive to SMEs in this transformation. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much, Mr. Rohan. Again, now it's all these, most of the suggestions you put on the table in terms of improving the cooperation, or would say the support to the SMEs and make them better integrated to the economy and the regional value chain, etc. We now can shift to kind of like on-ground experience. We have a very interesting speaker here. Ms. Natawan is bringing her rich experience from chambers of commerce, business associations, even my ex-colleague from the Central Bank, the World Bank, etc., but most importantly also a social entrepreneur. Let's validate with her from entrepreneur perspective, from the business SME perspective, what can be done better or how they can be supported better, just make sure that they are really integrated to national and regional economies. Over to you, Ms. Natawan.
Thank you very much, Elham Mallim. It's such a pleasure to be here. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. The thing is that my day job is I am the Secretary General of Maidan Nazir Organization for Women's Economic Empowerment, which is a subsidiary of the Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Development. But today I asked my dear friend Elvin to put me as the founder of Kashalata Cafe, the first and only inclusive cafe in Azerbaijan. And this is the case which I want to share with you, with all of you. And huge thanks to Orhan Mammadov, whose support was instrumental for Kashalata to become a true. So what is a Kashalata? Kashalata to me, it's my social responsibility project. It's a social project, and also to me, it was a way to try and kind of to apply all the knowledge and all the social capital and network I gained throughout of my long career. Before I was complaining, not complaining, but stating I used to work for the chambers, I used to work for the World Bank, I was the part of McKinsey team in Azerbaijan, but I have never ever been entrepreneur. And to me, Kashalata, this social place, is the way where I can experience what does it mean to be entrepreneur, at the same time woman-owned and woman-driven entrepreneur, and very special one, because at Kashalata Cafe we employed 10 neurodiverse boys. One has Down syndrome and 9 of them have autism. They are with autism. So, and also to me, what I want, why Kashalata, why I wanted to share that, because Kashalata to me as a development professional is the very unique model of public-private partnership. When you know how things are working, you can connect those dots and to have a public good. So my nephew has an autism, he's 21 years old, and while helping my family, my sister, to navigate that challenge which we faced, I realized that in Azerbaijan today we don't have many places which are employing differently abled people, and this idea came to my mind. And one of my first meetings was with Mr. Orhan Mammadov, who supported this idea, and he kindly provided Kobia us with the furniture. So I went to see Pasha Holding, and in accordance, in alignment with their corporate social responsibility, I asked them to provide us with the venue. And now we have a venue at the very heart of Baku, Port Baku area. We are not paying any single dollar for that. Then State Oil Company of Azerbaijan Republic, being the largest employer of the country and huge contributor to our economy, decided to join the project, and they helped us to refurbish the place and to make it to look as a cafe. Then the Ministry, so it was as I said, it's a very unique partnership, public-private partnership, which is run by NGO. Then Ministry of Labor and Social Protection of Population also joined us, and I remember our conversation with the Minister Babayev back those days. Now he's Minister of Finance of Azerbaijan, and I asked him for support, and he said, what is instead? I said, I promised to hire 10 differently abled people, and we hired 10 differently people, and the ministry helped us with the equipment. And other members of the private sector, someone is sending us coffee, someone is sending us other supplies. And today, so it's learning by doing to me, because with my today's experience, I understand that hiring 20 people for that 170 square meters cafe, it's too many. But it was my first entrepreneurial exercise, and I wish I could have went back and asked Mr. Orhan Mammadov not just for this support, but also to work with them on this business idea. Yes, and and I understand that to run small and medium enterprise, actually it's a micro business. In order for those 10 people to work, we also have 2 social workers to support them, to guide them. They work for 4 hours a day. And my observation is that in my country, alhamdulillah, we have a very good support, and I truly believe that Kobia is one of the best experiences in the world regarding SME support, and this is something which I have been discussing in many countries. When you know how things are working, you can do things, but still, there are things which you don't know that you don't know. And this is where associations and networks and financial institutions have to step in and to support, because the most important thing is the trust. And if we're discussing the integration of these small and medium enterprises into the regional, even local supply chains, you have to know that you don't know. This is the most important thing. So maybe I will elaborate later on your next question.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Natavan. Again, you basically brought a lot of layers to the discussion in terms of when we talk about the supporting of SMEs, it's not limited to multilateral development banks or banks, just banks, or not even the policymakers like, or the policy supporters like the COBIA. But I want to stop there and give now floor to Dr. Fatih, who is coming with the kind of a sister or the similar institution like COBIA, COSGAP, from Turkey, one of the most integrated economies among our member countries. We know how much the export, import, global integration is so critical to the economy of Turkey, and we know how much the role is playing small and medium enterprises in the, as a backbone of this integration and economic development. So, Dr. Fatih, before I go to the second round of questions that I have specifically for you, that you are doing a great job beyond the Turkey, for OIC countries, etc. But just let's start with the Turkey experience. You heard a lot from the experience of the ICD, entrepreneur, and the local bank, how basically our support can be done as a recipient and also the provider. But as you, the private sector or small, medium enterprise supporting agency of Turkey, how you would basically brand yourself as your own experience or your uniqueness supporting SMEs to connect to regional or the global value chains. Over to you, please.
Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to welcome all of the participants. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the question. Actually, helping SMEs integrate into regional and global value chains is a key priority of Turkish industrial policy. Over the years, Turkey has implemented a comprehensive set of policies actually in this area. Firstly, I can talk about the organized industrial zones and technoparks, because they played an important role bringing SMEs and the startups together and closer to suppliers, and provide a considerable opportunity for cooperation. For example, the automotive clusters in Bursa and Kocaeli have helped many SMEs to become part of the supply chains of the automotive industry. For example, in Ankara, Ostim organized industrial zone has many clusters in sectors such as defense, health and industries, and machinery. And as a second tool, I can mention about the export supports, because it's very important to integrate SMEs with the global and regional supply chains. And in this area, Ministry of Trade in Turkey is supporting actively SMEs, and also the Exim Bank and the Export Development Corporation are also other bodies. They are providing export credits and guarantee mechanisms for SMEs. And I also can mention about the growing share of the Islamic finance in this area, because it's also important. And in Turkey, when we look at their portfolio in participation banks, SME finance share is bigger than conventional banks. So it's also another big opportunity for SMEs. And also digital transformation is playing a critical role to integrate SMEs to the international channels. And also in this area, we are working with EBRD to support SMEs digital transformation. And we are working with commercial banks also in this field. Actually, within this ecosystem, COSGAP plays an effective role, because as an SME agency, our main mission is to increase SMEs' competitiveness and internationalization. Our experience shows that when we connect SMEs with the large-scale projects, it's the fastest way to improve their capabilities. For example, Tog Automotive Initiative and defense industry projects has many counterpart SMEs, and it's a very effective area for SMEs to integrate them with value chains. For this purpose, actually, we are supporting directly SMEs, but at the same time, we are also supporting the interface institutions, which provide some kind of services to SMEs. I think it's an important approach. For the SMEs, we have a separate window in the capacity development program, and we made agreements with the major public corporations like Turkish Airlines Technik and Turkish Aerospace Agency and like Turkstat. So if SMEs are part of their supply chains, we are providing greater support for these kind of SMEs. And also we have another global competitiveness support program focusing on just to increase their integration with the international supply chains. And also we are working very actively with international financial institutions in this area, like World Bank, EBRD, JICA. And also we have some fund mechanisms. For example, we have a fund-of-fund mechanism with European Investment Fund. And also this, supporting ecosystem partners is very important in this area, that we are supporting financial also channels to them. And also I should mention about the ecosystem players, because we are strengthening the broader ecosystem working with international partners. As a national coordinator of the European Enterprise Network, we have helped SMEs establish international business connections through mentoring programs and B2B matching events. So in general, I can say that we are working all the finance side, capacity building and ecosystem development side to integrate more SMEs with the international value chains.
Yep, fantastic. I think by now, thank you, Dr. Fatih, by now we have the dots, and we need to connect them. So I usually try to improvise during the moderation session, and I usually don't go with the book. So that's why some people hate me when I'm moderating. So I'll be going offline now, is asking Mr. Ulan a bit of cold question here. You heard from the entrepreneur, you heard from the local bank, your partner bank, and you heard also from the policy supporter, the COSGAP. And my quick takes from each is that, you know, COSGAP, for example, he has mentioned a number of times EBRD, World Bank, etc., but not ICD. Why not ICD? So how do you see ICD being part of this COBIA, COSGAP, as a partner institution? And number two, inclusiveness that Ms. Natavan mentioned. How to make sure that line of finance business of ICD is also somehow bringing the inclusiveness or the minorities or that's not necessarily empowered parts like women, youth, to be part of the line of finance or the financing support facilities of ICD, together with Mr. Orhan's general the pain points of the SMEs they are facing with in terms of facilities of specifically to Sharia compliant. So if you connect all these dots together, futuristically, where do you see the partnership and collaboration opportunities for better serving the SMEs for connectivity?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bin, for putting me on the spotlight. Yeah. All right, so let's do freestyling then. So what I've noticed here in the set of panels, we have a very good combination. So if I start from Fatih Bey, from your side, so you are the agency which creates the environment, enabling facilitation and so on, right? So us as a multinational, we provide the capital, patient capital, you know, different shapes and forms, which goes to the commercial banks like Orhan Bey representing Turan Bank, which is, by the way, one of our long-standing SME financing partners in Azerbaijan. And Ms. Natavan, so you are on the end user side of the being you as an entrepreneur. If you put on your hat of your owner of the cafe and running this wonderful business, so it's basically that supply chain, the value chain in terms of flow of funds. I believe that we have complete cycle here, and in the audience we have also Mr. Orhan Bey Mamadov, which is representing the Azerbaijani SME agency, which again, it's another sort of platform which enhances and facilitates the support
What we can
of
do,
the
Mr. Ulan,
SMEs.
sorry,
So
I'll
I'm
be-
coming to that. Yeah.
Please, you are gaining
So
time. I
What
know
can
that.
be done? So, okay, let me perhaps tell like what has already been done by ICD as an example, and see like if those can be replicated in the context of all our member countries, including Azerbaijan, Turkey, and so on. So we've established partnership with one SME development fund where we've suggested them different forms of partnership. So we started off with a capacity building where we have engaged with the SME fund to develop their own capacity to offer Islamic finance. So today they've been working in that industry for several years. They supported thousands of SMEs across the country using the tools and instruments which we have, supported them to develop, to offer Islamic finance. Now, as a second phase, we are discussing with them how we can support their ongoing efforts by providing the capital. And that capital comes in the local currency terms. And the third dimension is where we are setting up a platform with that SME Development Fund, a risk-sharing platform, whereby our funding, directly funding to the SMEs, would be enhanced by the partial risk guarantee from this SME Development Fund. So this is just one example. Other example which we are building is basically connecting the funding, so bringing investment into the country. So when we say like, global value chain and so on, so I believe that we should not also disregard the value chain where we are mobilizing the developmental funds into member countries. And the partners like Turan Bank and other financial institutions with whom we have built very strong relationship, very good understanding, are becoming the target for potential financing by other partners as well. And yesterday we have launched another platform where we are mobilizing developmental funds in a Sharia compliant way to support the SMEs of our member countries. And inshallah, we're gonna start with Azerbaijan, then Uzbekistan and other member countries to mobilize like-minded investors. We have one institution, Turkic Investment Fund, which we have agreed that we are going to join our hands to bring the funding with us. So that is another really good example how we are encouraging and facilitating the transactions. And the last one, I have more, but let me stop here, is one of the challenges mentioned by Orhan Bey and Notaban Hanum, that the sort of risk sharing or collateralized. So I'm really, happy to hear from Orhan Bey that you are doing it on a clean basis. So when you look at the value chain or the supply chain or the whole business comprehensively, and actually it is one of the essences of Islamic finance, where the Islamic finance is participating in the business by really getting involved across the full cycle of the project implementation to better understand the business, potentially take some equity stake in that business, and even facilitating it further, connecting it to the upstream and downstream along the value chain. I think that's a great initiative. And we are supporting those initiatives by at least eliminating the foreign currency risk by mobilizing local currency investment to support the efforts of the financial institutions to support more small and medium enterprises. Thank you.
Excellent. I think you passed the test by far with your cold call. And I will continue with the same spirit now to Ms. Madhavan. As the Secretary General of the Maidan Nazar organization of women empowerment. Again, we know that this is what we say in development economics: if you educate one woman, you educate the whole family. If you educate one man, you educate one man. And this goes the same line of thinking for the entrepreneurship. If you have a woman entrepreneur, you have a big whole family entrepreneur. So let alone being a financing, just one element of women entrepreneurs to basically prosper and be part of the economic integration regionally, globally, etc. What else you can put on the table with your past experience in the World Bank, Chamber of Commerce, all this together, that how better the woman, especially, you know, I know that you have your own passion on women entrepreneurship in the Muslim world, how women entrepreneurs, SMEs could be supported much better in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question, and I hope you won't regret, because I can talk about that for hours and hours. And the thing is that you remember our years when we were with the central bank, and I was pushing for financial education and financial inclusion, and the governor back those years couldn't understand, and being World Bank backed, I was arguing that financial inclusion and financial education is one of the main goals of the central bank, and that back those days, Azerbaijan, I believe till today we have NPLs quite high, and this is one of the reasons I was insisting on that. So financial inclusion and financial education, of course, comes first. One of the first major factors which are impacting the women's labor participation. So now when I have 57 countries in my portfolio, and having wealthy countries like Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, and others, and having the poorest countries within OAC, I see that the women's labor participation and their entrepreneurship, the level is so variable, and the thing which we are trying to understand, and if you call, and if you remember our last call, there was one thing which I asked ICDB and ISD to support us with that. We need a proper research and knowledge paper where we can understand why the indicators and result and statistics in Kuwait are so different. Of course, we understand the economic background, right? But what about the women participation? First, we have to know why. Why in one countries, wealthy countries, women economic participation is still low, while in others, we can understand that in poorest countries, it might be because of the lack of the access to education and to finance, while in others, women are good as they are. You know, they are quite wealthy and don't want to put extra burden on themselves. So there are so many questions to be discussed and so many issues. So I think that these institutions, which I would like as Maida Nazir and a woman entrepreneur to say, I want to understand the reasons for low women economic participation in our countries. Where is that? And then we will know that, okay, in this part of the world, we have to intervene with education and help women to access the education. In another countries, we have to work on child care to help women to be sure of their kids are taken care and they can be part of the economy. So there are many social impacts, social indicators and social variables. At the same time, the most important thing in business is a trust, right? We have to ensure that women are not perceived as a beneficiaries, but as the real actors of economic growth all over the world. So I think that if you ask me what kind of support, as I said, the knowledge document, knowledge report, I think something which we can work. Mr. Ulan, going back to your platforms, maybe we could think of the special platform for women entrepreneurs, especially for inclusiveness, capacity building, digital tools, networks, supported women networks. So a lot of things I am happy to put on them on the paper, given that our time is limited, and to submit. Thank you, Elvin.
Thank you, Ms. Natavan. I think we still have a bio schedule, by the way. I'm very strict on the timing. We have 10 minutes more, but for last 5 minutes we reserved for very interesting toolbox type of solution that we have, that we will be having. So that's why we have only 5 minutes left. Then I'll keep Mr. Orhan last, because your answer will be basically going to be a segue for our next presentation. But before that, Dr. Fatih, let's bring the broader perspective, the OIC ISTB member countries, etc. Maybe you are one of the unique, the country institutions, COSGAP, like doing something beyond the country to connect the SMEs, the broader ecosystem of SMEs and supporters in member countries. I would love to really hear from you, what are you doing as of now, and what is the perspective, the plan of bringing together the SME community and supporting SMEs in our member countries? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, SMEs represent a big share in OIC economies, and they make up the vast majority of the businesses and generating most employment opportunities. However, despite their importance, many SMEs are still not well connected to regional and global value chains, and intra-OIC trade is increasing, but it is not still at the potential levels. So, therefore, we believe that SMEs can be a powerful driver of economic cooperation in OIC region. Based on this vision, we proposed COMSEC SME program as a platform to strengthen SME internationalization. Actually, our main idea was to adopt EU experience to OIC, because in EU, we are the national coordinator of the COSME program, which is the competition of SMEs program in EU, and we are also the national coordinator of European Enterprise Network. So our main aim is to use this experience in OIC region. The program was launched following the announcement at the COMSEC ministerial session in December 2023. The program focuses on three main areas. The first one is knowledge sharing and capacity building. The second one is increasing intra-OIC trade. And the last one is the establishing an SME network platform, which is very important that SMEs can find new suppliers, new customers, and new partners. To achieve this, actually, we are implementing several complementary projects with the support of COMSEC and ISTB, and we appreciate for this support. These projects are helped us to design technical, financial, and organizational framework, and at the same time, ISTB projects are helping us to realize program objectives with operational mechanisms. And for example, the ISTB and ICDT supported project, we are building a digital B2B matchmaking platform.
Yeah.
And this platform will connect SMEs from different OIC countries. This is a joint project and pilot project actually for the SME agencies. Malaysia, Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Morocco, and Turkey are the partners. Actually, our vision goes beyond just a trade portal, because we want to make it a cooperation platform for all of the countries. But at the beginning, we are working with the SME agencies, and we would like to increase institutional capacity at the same time, because national SME agencies' role is very important to manage and verify information about SMEs at the beginning. And for the current situation, we are in the software development process. The tendering process is just finished. And also in the future, the financing side will be very important for the platform. And so as COSGAP, actually we're proud to be a part of this initiative, and actually I invite all of the OIC countries and OIC institutions effectively participate to this initiative.
Definitely, definitely. Dr. Fatih, I think you touched upon on many, many very interesting points that you are, with your own knowledge that and the resources doing. I am sure that these kind of platforms are the opportunity for each of us to know what our potential stakeholders or the partners can do or doing, and please use this opportunity after the session and connect and learn. Me personally, I think that I need to sit with you another 1 hour to get to know those things more detailed and how to benefit from them for the better use for our member countries. Mr. Orhan, again, I'm going with a bit of cold call here, but is easy one. The seasoned CEO like you, it's going to be a piece of cake. Tell us, please, what are the challenges you are facing with when you are approaching the SMEs for the Sharia compliant or general the MDBs, financing tools, or line of finance you are getting to support SMEs? Specifically, do you see any challenge when it comes to the currency that you are getting a support? Like ICD giving you dollars currency and you are extending it to the line SMEs in dollar. Do you think that is like bringing the solution around the local currency solutions can also help the SMEs to better utilize the facilities of the MDBs like ICD? Over to you, please.
Thank you very much. So, one of the challenges, ordinary challenges, is the currency risk. So we have some hedging tools that we use in order to address those challenges. And one of the challenges in financing SMEs is probably the unjustified financial figures, and they may bring some risks. So as for the currency risk, banks like us are easily managing the currency risk.
To move to our very special guest here, who will be making a 5-minute presentation, which is about the currency solution we are now working around as an ICD and the TCX. By the way, TCX is the Currency Exchange Fund. The CEO of the fund, Mr. Sam Aido, with us. I would love to invite him to the scene and then make a presentation what as an ICD and TCX we are trying together to come up as a local currency solution to our small and medium enterprises and local banks in the countries. Over to you, Mr. Sam.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. Real great pleasure and honor for me to be in Baku. My first time, loving it so much. And Your Excellency, thank you for having us. I'd like to start off, given I have 5 minutes only, to rush through some parts, but then stop at the parts that are pretty important for us to pay attention, and then we should be out of here. My name is, as said, is Sam Edu, and I'm the Chief Investment Officer for TCX Fund, the Currency Exchange Fund out of the Netherlands. A big, mighty thank you to Dr. Kalafala for, and in fact the entire ICD team for the great amount of work they've afforded us to work with them to come up with the product I'm going to speak about very soon. It has involved quite a bit of man hours, close to a year, and big thanks to Mr. Samir as well, GM Finance, for the dedication of time and effort to get us to where we are today. Of course, I can't leave out Mr. Nabil Ali and Mr. Mohammed Knifa, who has been dealing with my team on a day-to-day basis. I'll probably, if you allow me a few minutes to talk about TCX. Now, TCX is, for those who don't know, is a fund based in the Netherlands. Right, so our sole mission is simply this. Our sole mission is that we provide foreign exchange risk management solutions. You can call them currency derivatives that enable multilateral development banks, DFIs, to structure investments in local currency. And a lot of the conversations we've had with the SMEs is really how can we get them to borrow in the currency in which they earn? How can we provide local currency for short-dated, medium-term, long-term for them to be able to use to grow their business? So as we move on, we all in this room have one, I am sure we can agree on one conviction, right? Which is that long-term investments are required if we are to see developments in our markets, if we are to see developments in the SMEs, long-term funding is required. There's no two ways about that. In the local markets, it's hard to find long-term local currency to fund these entities. So local markets become a bit of a challenge, right? But for us at TCX, a very important thing, a critically important thing for us beyond the mission that unites all of us to find long-term funding for local markets is to ensure that the financing should be done in local currency. We've done a lot of research, a lot of work looking into how companies survive or not depending on the currency that they have. And we found from the work, the study we've done, that foreign exchange risk is probably a much bigger challenge that SMEs face more than anything else. So local markets we see have limited funding to provide SMEs for long term. The interesting and good thing about development finance institutions and MDBs is they do have the long-term funding, so that box is ticked and checked. The challenge, however, is that once we present the hard currency through to an SME, really there is a trap of the currency risk that the SME is not equipped to deal with, especially when the SME has their revenues denominated in local currency. It's a real challenge. So this is something that concerns us a lot, and we've seen many cases where companies, SMEs, corporates have been derailed or projects have been derailed as a result of this. And as I look to get through the end of the slide, this challenge presents an opportunity. So if you look at the bottom left-hand side of the slide, a number of multilateral entities, DFIs, came together, put aside capital to set up TCX. And our sole mission is to deal with the risk management, the foreign exchange risk management associated with lending. So we are really set up principally to take away long-dated local currency risk away from MDBs, away from DFIs, away from banks. And we've been having this conversation with some of the participants on the panel already to see how we can take away that currency risk from them and allow them to do what they do best. So far as TCX, we've probably hedged close to $20 billion worth of local currency risk since we started. We trade in 58 currencies, and we have the capability to go up to 105 different currencies across the world. We are well capitalized, and our real effort and focus is to provide the foreign exchange hedging solutions that frontier and emerging market economies so badly need. We take away and we absorb the currency shocks so that MDBs, DFIs can do what they do best and lend. An important thing I'd like to leave with you is this. Because of the diversity of currencies we have on our book, this presents us with a very powerful diversification benefit. Now we are able to offer this back to our clients. So the more currencies we onboard onto our book, the stronger the diversification benefit we have, and the better able we are to offer this benefit to our clients. So we encourage, and we are actively looking forward to onboarding more and more currencies to make this a lot better for everyone. I'll say three more things, and then I'll take my seat. First thing is that we see a growing need for local currency financing, and this is something we observe from TCX, we observe from the borrowers we engage, we observe even from the lenders. And ICD, in many ways than one, has also shared this with us. The second thing is that we recognize the existence of Sharia-compliant deliverable solutions today, but they do come with some types of challenges, especially when you find yourself in an environment where convertibility becomes an issue. These traditional products are not as easy to handle, and they can be quite complex. Now, recognizing this challenge, ICD, TCX, we came together last year, sat down in a room, spent various hours engaging with the lawyers, trying to come up with a solution that will be Sharia compliant, provide the hedging solution that we need, but in a different format. This time around, we were able to develop it in a non-deliverable format. And as I bring this to a close, you would recognize that the basis for this, and we've talked about toolkits quite a lot this afternoon, is to provide a tool that manages foreign exchange associated risks with local currency investments by various investors in the frontier market. Now, what is the product? And I end on this conversation on this slide. The product is an Islamic non-deliverable foreign exchange forward. It would have two unilateral, independent, Wa'ad-based structures. Simply, you can call this an INDF, an INDF. So under each, if you look at the top right-hand corners, we've shown the two different Wa'ad-based structures. Under each of them, you find that TCX or ICD would each undertake a unilateral promise to buy or sell a local currency against US dollar. This will be done at an agreed rate, and also this will be done at an agreed date in the future. Now, at maturity, what tends to happen is that one of the two wa'ad arrangements become exercisable, and that's how the trade would close out. I'll touch on some key advantages, but before then, the main innovation or the main difference with this product from other products is that settlement occurs through a cash payment, a single cash payment in US dollars, rather than the physical exchange of currencies. So as the slide shows at the bottom left-hand side, our engagement with ICD would result in ICD going forward being in a position to now lend local currency in the markets in which ICD does a lot of the support. The advantage to this, as highlighted there, the first and key important advantage is that it fully respects the structuring and requirements and principles of Islamic finance. That is fundamental to us. The last thing is that it's a market-based solution and is designed to address the local currency funding needs that the Islamic financing would require. Finally, the non-deliverable settlement mechanism is significantly low in terms of operational complexity, and I bring my slide to an end by saying these are all the different countries and currencies in which we offer this exceptional product. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
Looking forward to engage you further.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sam. 15 seconds more. First of all, million apologies to my colleagues from the IDB. We know that we are running out of time because of any other session where the panelists, one of the panelists, have to leave to catch the flight. So why we did this all, just to show that His Excellency has mentioned the toolbox that we are all striving to enrich, to serve our member countries, to serve SMEs, to serve the clients better. That's the objective we have. I think we have all here different stakeholders, policymakers, banks, the MDBs, the partners. We all have a takeaway with that. We can enrich our toolbox to be more relevant to our member countries and the communities we serve. Now I will ask Mr. Orkhan and all other speakers to come for 10 seconds to take a group photo, and then we'll leave the scene. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear moderator and our esteemed speakers. Mr. Mamadev, please welcome. Please stand for a group photo. Thank you very much for this insightful discussion. Thank you. The final panel discussion of the ISDB Group Private Sector Forum is From More FDI to Better FDI, Investment Promotion for Sustainable Development. A PSF event designed to strengthen capacity of investment promotion agencies and related public sector stakeholders to attract, facilitate, and retain sustainable investment. The session brings together IPA leaders, policymakers, ISDB group entities, ASPROMO, TIGA, and WIPA to exchange practices